Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Do you know that 70s punk band Magazine?
No.
That feels Dave-ish to me.
That's such a punk band name, though.
Yeah. Check it out, Dave. I feel like your kindred spirit awaits in weird face paint.
There's a band, I believe, called Television.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a radio? Do you think there's a radio?
There's got to be a radio somewhere.
They got to cover all the things.
Yeah, every media form. There's a guy that's printing press. That's a band.
It fucking better be.
Yeah. Or fuck us.
Yeah.
For not having it. Anyway, I just want the audience to know if this doesn't come out or if I get sick in the middle of it, it's because I've had 45 vaccines today.
Yeah, you're all
so
vaxxed
many
out.
vaccines.
I mean, if this doesn't come out, the audience won't hear this, so...
Yeah, so this
can't
is really
tell
a
them.
scream into the void.
Mm-hmm.
As everything we do really is, Dave.
Vaxcast.
The Vaxcast! I have... Apparently, you don't need to get hepatitis B more than once, I'm told.
Yeah.
You know?
But, again, you threw in a little extra sauce.
Yeah,
you
I
doubled it.
I said,
Little
sure,
extra-
whatever you want to give me.
Yeah,
Go for
extra.
it.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, really? Okay, I have some
Oh,
shit
cool.
I've been wanting to try out.
It was
I
like an
made
old
this one.
apothecary.
Yeah.
I think it'll do something. I like how it glows. Do you want something glowy? Sure, I guess.
You want to glow inside? You'd be a little lightning bug.
Yeah, just radiating at the night. You know, that's how modern medicine works.
This
Dave.
podcast needs to start. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Hypecast,
Hypecast!
the show where we get hyped about stuff and things.
Yeah, we do.
Good yell. Good yell.
Yeah. I was channeling my inner Tom.
Yeah, you were.
Also, that vaccine's really fucking me up. I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
you're like, oh, I'm so juiced up.
Suck yeah!
You can lick anything right now.
Oh,
You can
dude.
lick anything in the world.
It's like I'm at an Ace of Spades show. You know what I mean? Like they're just motorheads playing Ace of Spades. My tongue's out and I'm just doorknob height.
Yeah.
Just sprinting past everything with my tongue out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro.
I'm one of the hosts, David Bell. You are Adam Ganser.
Yes, I am. And pleased to be here is also my name.
Thank you so much for being here.
You got it. What a joy.
Yeah, and getting hyped with me. We're going to get so fucking hyped.
So hyped. I know you curate these bundles. I know you do.
I sure do.
And this was a dart right at me. Like you started, this was personal. I know it was personal and I can see that.
I don't curate what trailers come out during
think
any
you do,
given
Dave.
week.
I disagree with that, Dave.
I can push the needle in certain ways. You know, I can choose to include or omit.
Yeah. You're
but
sort of
that's
like the
about it.
Fed. You're like the Fed of trailer curators, right? Like just,
Exactly.
I can raise the rate a little, maybe a
Yeah.
little less. Might impact things.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I got it.
Adam, before we get started, do you want to tell people where they can find you? What you got going on? What's
Well, I
your whole
really
deal?
don't, because I don't want people to find me. I'd like to live in my safe world. But my works, my many works can be found. Most of the podcast stuff is on the Small Beans Network, which I feel like you're probably familiar with, including One-Upsmanship, which is back from iHeartRadio on the Small Beans Patreon. And some other podcasts, you know, some stuff about directing and friendship and some other stuff. I have a video podcast I do with Maggie Mae Fish called Lynchpins that's on YouTube under her channel, Maggie Mae Fish. Or if you're like, no, I want a really extended version of it with more jokes and bullshit, you can subscribe to her Nebula and find it. And finally, I have a documentary called Sanibel that is premiering at the end of October at the Naples Film Fest.
Ooh.
I don't know that I'll be there, but the film will. So you can go see that there if you'd like.
And yeah, that's like you being there. Like if you
It's
go
like
see the
that.
film,
Yeah.
you're essentially seeing Adam.
My ghost smiles upon you, you know?
Yeah.
Like imagine a moon and then there's my face like howling with pleasure, you know?
Oh, I imagine that.
Yeah. There's also a trailer here that really gave me pleasure for exactly that reason. Really liked it. Yeah.
God, there is so many juicy
There really,
trailers.
there really were.
You're all
There
going to
really were.
shit. You're going to
Yeah.
shit when
Yep.
you hear about these
Yep.
trailers.
Yep. These are good ones. These are some good ones.
Man, we
Dave,
should get...
Where can I find you? I'd like to find you, Dave. Can I find you somewhere?
They're literally finding me here. This is where I am.
So this is a
found
waste of their time, you're saying?
You
when
found
I
me.
ask for your plug?
I could plug at the end. I mean, people
Okay,
know our
all right.
Patreon, patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. But I mean, on that subject, we have
Yeah.
patrons we need to thank.
Oh, I'm happy to do that.
Wonderful supporters of this show.
Yeah.
Starting with at Nerd Numbers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Zero Charisma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to 2001: A Space McNulty Odyssey.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew. Adam deserves more hype, McGuire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew Howe. Demands a single act of kindness.
Thank you. I hope he gets it. I
me
really
too.
hope he gets that. Yeah.
Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you. Hey, Dave, let me take over for a second. Thanks to Ballet Karate Hulk.
Thank you.
Holy shit, I love that. Thanks to Bit22E Wivis B.
That
Right?
works.
Yeah,
They didn't tell me how to pronounce it.
It's not even
So
close to what it is, but the B has an exclamation point, so I tried to hold it out a bit.
yeah, B. Yeah.
Yeah, B. Yeah. Thanks to that bot. Thanks to Bootler Bootlesson.
Thank you.
Thanks to Brian, who Tom knows.
Thank you.
I fucking love that guy. I
yeah.
want to know. I gotta know him. I want to know him
He
so
knows
bad.
Tom.
Yeah, exactly. I need
Yeah.
to know. Thanks to Brockway, loves the meat millie.
Thank you.
Thanks to Burrito, says water, gym, sunscreen, kung fu, ska, self care.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to Chester's Profit,
Thank you.
underrated. Chester's Profit is underrated.
It is.
Thanks to Christopher Robert Sparts Esquire.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I enjoy knowing that's the actual account name too.
Oh, yeah.
enjoy knowing that. That makes me even happier.
He's living it.
Love
He's
it.
living
Yeah,
it.
living this life. This is not an identity. This is a life he's living.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Adam,
Whew. Here we go. Started real hot, Dave.
you're a big Minecraft fan. And so I think we all gotta really break down this trailer
Holy
for
shit.
a Minecraft movie. It's actually the teaser. There'll be more to come.
Wow.
So I don't wanna like judge it too harshly.
Wow.
Based off this teaser.
I
This
read
is-
your comments after I watched the trailer. Your comments are everything I want. I don't want to stop you from doing it. I hated this. Violently hated this. On every level, I hated it.
Well,
yeah.
there's
Except
this-
the Jack Black of it. I like Jack Black in it.
he plays Steve.
Sure.
We all know Steve.
Yeah, right, great.
And then Jason Momoa is there.
yeah.
There's this question of like, okay, a Minecraft movie's coming, and I think it was on everybody's mind, which is like, what bullshit are you gonna pull? right?
Exactly. Yeah, what is this
Is
going to
it-
be?
Yeah, is it gonna be Jumanji? Is it gonna be Mario Brothers? Is it gonna be straight up like live action, like Dungeons and Dragons? That was my vote. My vote was don't make it
Do it
this
for real?
cartoon world. Do
Yeah.
a live action where because it basically is like we have to just have them do the things. Have them say we have to go get the dragon. Oh, we got to gear up. Let's go to this bastion. Let's do this. Like, you just have them beat the game, essentially.
I think we agree, and I don't want to be negative about this movie because I know why it must exist. I get that it needs to exist. Just movie law says.
Yeah.
I think this is the worst visual version they could have done.
People are not happy.
Well, no, it needed to look shittier.
Yeah, well,
It needed to look worse.
a lot of people are saying, like, make them all cartoons or
Yeah.
non-cartoons.
Yeah.
They're doing Jumanji, basically.
Put it
this
in
group.
the Minecraft world.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And listen, I know you probably, these things pinged you as well. But, like, all right, the piglins, let's start with the piglins.
Oh, my God.
So it might be a plot point, but they don't spawn in the overworld. So, like, the first
Dave.
thing we see is that the piglins are in the overworld. They're riding ghasts, so that implies that there's some sort of siege on the overworld, which, okay.
You can
But
accept that.
I
That's
can accept that.
acceptable. Yeah.
But that
For
pings
narrative.
me. Well, that
Yeah.
pings me because if they're going from the nether to the overworld, that implies, again, some sort of siege. And the thing about piglins is they're not really villains, Adam.
I hate this.
They're neutral. You can trade with them. They won't attack you if you're wearing certain gear. They have children.
This is...
They have stables. They have a civilization.
But briefly, can I just I feel like this was they literally merged the Angry Bird stuff.
Yes,
with
this
Minecraft.
also has the Angry Birds vibe. Yeah,
like in a way that was like these guys don't know video games or doesn't feel like they do.
This is it's the director of Napoleon Dynamite, which is not a bad choice.
Sure, okay.
It's like I do get the vibe of like I feel like they just looked at a list of Minecraft stuff and said, like, let's put that stuff in there. Maybe they did. Maybe someone watched a playthrough of the game.
It doesn't feel like it's made by fans, and I think out of all the games they could have adapted, this one needed to be a fan service thing.
Yeah,
because Minecraft isn't a story. I don't give a shit. There's story mode. I don't care. Minecraft's not a story, so it needs to be so steeped in the way Minecraft is.
Right.
To justify a story that it makes the fans happy, and it's not doing that at all.
No, they're in a village. They have wooden swords, Adam. The piglins have wooden swords.
Yes.
They have gold. The gold swords. The villages seem to have windmills, and I'm like, where the fuck are their windmills? They show a crafting. They show Jason Momoa craft
They showed
something,
a crafting. Yeah, I saw that.
and he takes. I paused it to check several iron ingots and sticks and makes 2 buckets on a chain. Now, let's start with the fact that that's not a craftable item or an item in Minecraft.
What do you mean start with?
Let's start with
that phrase.
There's no buckets on chains in Minecraft. But then also, if there were, if you want to craft, you can craft a pail, like a bucket, and that's 3 irons and a V. So, if you're going to craft a wooden bucket, you would at least, wooden sticks? Where are the wooden sticks in that? You would do 3 wood blocks.
The fact that you want to do this up top in this episode suggests how dark my future is going to be today. This is the darkest timeline for me today. I don't want to hear this. I don't give a shit about this. Get out of here, Dave. It's early for me to want you to be dead. How can I want that so early in the podcast,
shows
Dave?
The piglins charging by a llama, and they make the llama a coward. It freezes.
Yeah, yes, they did. Yes, I saw that.
Llamas are famously not cowards in Minecraft. Yeah. They attack. They
attack you. That I remember from the 4 times I played this with you.
Right. It's wild that they didn't know to do that. To be the joke would be that the llama is bring it on and spit because the llama is always fighting things. So that to me, I know that sounds like I'm nitpicking, but that shows I don't think you've played the game or know much about the game.
You know what else shows they don't know much about the game? The fact that the Beatles are the song, the Magical Mystery Tour song is the way they're advertising the movie.
That's for the parents.
Is it?
Well, that's for the old executives who still think parents are boomers.
Yes, exactly.
They're
that's exactly
throw that
right.
in for the parents, and it's the parents are millennials.
Yeah, we don't listen to the Beatles.
We sure don't.
They're good, but a Gen Z who you're trying to get right now, they don't even know who the Beatles are.
Yeah,
they probably have read it in a book or something. It's so insane that the Beatles is attached to this, completely ridiculous. Okay, I know this is a tedious point, but I really want to make it. This movie should have been made in the Minecraft world. They should have been restricted to using the Minecraft tools and place to make a narrative.
And limitations, yeah.
I know that makes every executive everywhere freeze up and have a heart attack. They're totally wrong. I think that would have absolutely worked. I think it would have made a lot of money. It would have been very cheap. It would have changed cinema because we would have realized, people are willing to watch movies made in video game engines. That changes a lot of shit. If they that could have been a huge movie idea if they'd done that.
I completely agree. In fact, I've been talking about there's those movies that are Searching and Missing, which are movies that are on. Yes. On a desktop. The next evolution is a movie that takes place entirely in a video game.
There's no reason not to do it.
Yeah.
The reason they don't do it in games is because it's too expensive. Movies don't have that problem.
Yeah.
And Minecraft is the ultimate discount world.
And one of the biggest YouTubers until some news came out about him, was a Minecraft speedrunner
Right.
who would do these Minecraft games, and it's like that. Those YouTube videos did infinitely better than this will do, like in terms of viewers, and it's because it's a narrative in the Minecraft world that you're describing, where it's like there's characters and a dynamic between them. And this feels so cookie cutter. It feels like they're like, let's get this slop out for them. Like, let's Jumanji it. Let's get some funny guys. They'll improv, stick them on a green screen. That's easy. Make them like fun little cartoon, like
that's what
sheep,
I mean.
and like
it feels like the Roth IRA account of movies, where it's like you got to put a lot of money in, but it'll make a lot of money, and it's like that's not why you go to movies. Like that. Nothing about this is why I would go to a Minecraft movie. Not one piece of it is why I would go.
Right. It just doesn't feel like video game movies are the big thing right now. So everybody's going to be doing them. Yeah.
Get ready. They're going to be.
But you have to understand like what people liked about the video game, and that includes gameplay. That's what they have to, if they're going to make everything like Borderlands, big
Did you
flop.
watch that?
Oh yeah. We covered it on We Just Watched, and one of the things we talked about is like it's weird they didn't have a character who was obsessed with guns and collected guns.
Come on.
And it's like, because it felt like it was made by people who didn't play the game. They just sort of skimmed the game and said like, all right, we'll put these characters in there and kind of mash them up. And like, that's how this feels, which is like, okay, we know it has these things in them, so let's just have these things interact and do a lot of like, oh yeah, see, remember creepers? Remember this? Like, I want
strange.
I want like a wandering trader to keep showing up in inconvenient places, and they're like, "Why are you here? Get out of here!" Like, I want people who understand Minecraft making a Minecraft movie.
It's strange to me that they don't have the equivalent of a Marvel czar for these video game movies. Like, they every Star Wars that gets made, every Marvel that gets made, is so meticulous in its fan service that we're exhausted with it. And with these video game movies, it's exactly the opposite. They're like, I don't know, who gives a shit? It's a video game. And it's like, bro, you're talking like this is 1981 and video games are a new idea. Like,
right,
that's what are you
exactly
doing?
why video games movies failed in the 90s, because they churned them out. They would be like, you like video games. They didn't understand them. We've stopped doing them. And the reason why they were hot again right now is because of things like The Last of Us, where they actually like paid attention and like took the game seriously for what it was. And so I think we're still going to get some of that, but then we're going to get stuff like this.
Well, they're going through a list of top grossing video games, right? And a lot of those games, it's hard to make a movie out of them. I think Minecraft is number one. How do you make a movie out of this?
That's why I keep going back to Dungeons and Dragons, because when you look at Dungeons and Dragons, you're like, there's no plot there. It's just a world. And it's like, exactly. So you make Minecraft where you get a group of characters that are new. You invent them.
And they have to build a thing to save, the world they're in.
And they have to Minecraft. They have to go to the Nether. You do first act is them like basically making a base, getting set up, realizing they have to get the dragon, going to the Nether, dealing with the blazes and the fortresses and the fucking piglins, and having like a Nether adventure, and then getting what they need and realizing like we have to gear up. We got to go to a bastion, or we got to go to the new trials thing.
You just want Worm Dave as a character in this, like which I do too.
But can literally you can just do all the beats, and then like, okay, now it's time to go to the fortress and fight our way through to get to the dragon. Like it has all the beats of an action adventure movie already. Yeah. Just do that, and maybe they will. But it seems like they're doing like this. They want to do this whole thing with, again, the piglins are weird. They should have used the pillagers, because the pillagers are enemies. They're bad. They take prisoners.
This terrible deep dive. I'm ready to move on, Dave. Are you ready to move on? Are you ready,
That's
Dave?
fine.
We can do another 20 on this if you want.
We could do it. Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about the next trailer.
I'm sorry, Dave. Have I ever been the one to push us forward before?
No.
I think you should listen to me, Dave.
I am. I'm gonna.
really
I'm gonna. You're right.
Okay.
No, you're
all
right.
All right, Dave.
All right. This next trailer is for Apartment 7A. Does it mention anywhere in the trailer that it is a Rosemary's Baby prequel?
I learned that from reading your comment.
Yeah.
I did not make that connection, but okay, sure.
I think it's kind of neat that they did that.
Yeah, sure. It's fine. There's nothing good or bad about that. I think that's a neutral fact.
Yeah. It's from the director of Relic, which was a very fun and creepy horror movie.
This is a very different movie than Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby is very grounded.
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
This is not grounded at all. Nobody in it is grounded.
I sort of understand that because you can't do the gaslighting again.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
We're like, well, we know what's happening. So you have to tell a different story. I don't know if this story needs to be told.
It felt a lot like Red Sparrow, only instead of being trained to be a secret agent, she's absconded to be Satan's mother or whatever. What is it? What happens in Rosemary? She's
Satan's
the mother
mom.
of. Yeah. Okay. Right.
They're trying to knock her up, and so like if you remember Rosemary's Baby, when they move into the apartment, they imply that there was some, or maybe they just say there was some sort of tragedy with the previous tenant, and there's even like furniture specifically blocking like passageways. So that's all to say that like this was at least this had motivation to exist within the story. We sort of know how this will end based on that. I also, again, I liked Relic, and there's an argument to be made that since Rosemary's Baby was directed by Roman Polanski, and so like. There's an argument to be made of this idea of like taking, because this is a woman director, of like this is the first one too was a story about a woman about pregnancy, specifically about womanhood.
It was a woman's story, absolutely.
Yeah. So having like an actual director and I think writer who is a woman to do that, there's merit to that. I think.
Sure.
I don't hate this, is what I'm saying.
Insight is a good thing. If a female director has some unique insights that we end up watching, that's great.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything about this that feels special, other than I kind of like the character Diane West is doing. Like
she's
the main antagonist who looks like a 50s mom.
She's the neighbor from the original. Yeah.
Yeah. She's heightened in just the right way. Like that makes this kind of fun, or feel kind of fun to me.
Yeah. I really liked The First Omen, and that was another film where I was like, you don't need to make a First Omen. The First Omen was The Omen.
Right.
So like it's that thing where I'm like, I guess we'll see, like this trailer, I don't know, I do like what that lady's doing. She has big shoes to fill with that role. Sort of like playing Norman Bates,
Yes. This brings me to a comment that I was going to make later, but I think a lot of movies fit into this. I think we're underestimating how important Rogue One was in cinema history. I think Rogue One was a really important film because it sort of justified the idea of every successful movie has connective tissue that a movie can be made from it.
Yeah.
And it can be done well. I'm going to put that in quotes. Well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Rogue One is slightly a different beast. Because Rogue One is kind of the gimmick of Rogue One is let's tell this seemingly small story in this bigger epic that you didn't even know mattered. Where you're like, these people, it's like war. It's like showing like a small piece of a war, a larger war, and being like, this mattered. These forgotten names.
I think it's a way of allowing us to rehash stories we've seen a bunch of times and think we're getting something new because it's either a more intimate or selective or like based around this group we didn't consider before, or based around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it also is sort of a Trojan horse for deep fake and AI stuff, which I think later on we're going to really regret how that snuck up on us. And I kind of think the next trailer is indebted to Rogue One in some ways because of that.
Oh, yeah. I want to say something about this, though, first. Sorry to deny the segue.
Not at all.
But there is another pattern that this fits, which is modern horror right now is very, very much around slow burns and subtlety. And
I dig that.
Yes, me too. I love modern horror right now. And I can't help but notice that we're doing a lot of sequels, remakes, or prequels from movies around the 70s, which was also the last time horror was very slow burn. Rosemary's Baby is a slow burn. Alien was a slow burn movie. It's all about like the vibes and environment. The Omen was a slow, so it makes sense that these are all coming back for modern horror sensibilities, where they're like, oh yeah, we could really like make a fucking sequel to this, and make it feel like the original because and fit what's popular right now. And
Agreed.
I think that's a nice little
sense.
combination. Yeah.
I mean, movies have always had the problem of we've all seen too many of them. I don't mind the idea of this film, but I also think it's telling that we don't have a lot to say about it other than how it fits into the
I mean, it's
pantheon.
horror. It's either going to be really, creepy and well made, or it won't, But I don't know. I think that's interesting. It reminds me of in the 2000s after Scream, we remade a bunch of slasher films because that was fitting for the time.
Because it worked. Because it worked.
Yeah, you want to talk about this next one?
I do. The 6888.
It is.
So, okay.
Directed by Tyler Perry.
Which I thought was cool. Written and directed by Tyler Perry. I was like, that's interesting.
He's done serious things. He'll go back and forth.
Yeah, and I like that. Okay, so before I wrote a word down about this, I was like, I need to find out who this group of people actually was.
I wish the trailer explained that.
I think that tells you that we might not really have that interesting of a conflict here.
I suspected the same, which is so this is a movie about a group of black women during World War II who were recruited to sort through like a bunch of mail and I think deliver it.
And eventually deliver it, yes.
And I think that might include actually going out like into the shit.
They sure want you to think that.
Yes. And I imagine that they dealt with a lot of bullshit.
It seems like the big, like when I read a bunch of behind the scenes articles about this, the narrative focused more around they were segregated, they were underestimated, nobody thought this could be done, and that they viewed themselves as a morale boosting unit, like that was their job, and they did it in record time. All of which is fine, absolutely great. You know what I mean?
I think what they might be aiming for, and it would be smart to aim for because this is a very good movie, is Hidden Figures, which is another movie about black women involved in a major historical event that were sort of tucked away.
Agreed.
And it is, I can see, it's fair to focus on that aspect, I think.
There's no reason, this movie has every right to exist, just like every movie has, but like...
Including the Zapruder film?
Oh, yeah. That's like top 10 for me, Dave.
Putting you on the record there.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Appreciate. Yeah, I'm sure history will be kind to that comment. So, like, my skepticism about that is not that it's a story of people who've been overlooked or a corner of this conflict we haven't talked about, but that it's clearly drawing on a bunch of World War II and war movie tropes.
Yes.
That I don't think it's going to deliver entirely because it doesn't really seem like this was a combat unit at all.
I don't know if it's the marketing or the movie, but it feels like that's what they're like trying to make us. It's sort of like Hidden Figures again. Yeah, exactly. Like Hidden Figures, which I just again seems like a similar theme, was sort of about the idea how other movies will gloss over all the people in the background who made something happen, right? Like Apollo 13 probably skipped over a lot of nerds who were extremely important. You know what I mean? And so war movies similarly probably do that. And so it would be a good, that seems like a good angle to be like, movies always glorify things and like gloss over things. And there were these people who are doing a lot that we don't think about. But to your point, the trailer isn't really doing that. It feels like the trailer is trying to pretend we're going to do a big war movie.
Right. So, like, I didn't see The Imitation Game, right? But one reason why I didn't want to watch it. Movie. Okay, great. One reason why I didn't want to watch it is World War II fatigue is a completely valid posture on film right now, and has been for, I would say, 20 years. We've done so many movies about that conflict. It's just, and Imitation Game had at least a unique corner to talk about, as does this. I just think on a pure entertainment value question, not on a does the story have cultural merit, which is fine, but on an entertainment value, if you're selling me glory or if you're selling me the virtues of war heroism, and really we're talking about a different issue, like you're Trojan horsing different issues into it.
Yeah.
I just think people are going to be disappointed. I worry people are going to be disappointed.
If that is the case here.
If that's the case, correct.
But you're right. Reading into it, I was like, I'm not seeing where like the big war stuff came into play. But there is a way to do that, and it's to focus on characters, right? That's
Agreed.
what those movies do. The Imitation
Agreed.
Game, or like Oppenheimer. These are movies that are like about a war, but they're about behind the scenes.
I didn't think Oppenheimer was a good movie. I mean, I know I'm the only one, but
it was successful, right? Like,
sure. I mean, if success is the metric.
but if what I mean is, like, if you're going to tell a movie about behind the scenes of a war, you don't want to trick people into thinking it's about the war, and you want to focus on and you want to focus on like these are interesting, compelling characters that you're going to like.
Which we don't meet any characters in this
right,
trailer.
This was like a montage. It
Yes.
was like a voiceover montage. And that's what I mean, where I was like, I wish I got more from this trailer. It felt like it was not telling me things.
So maybe wrong frame for this movie. But like I worry, well, who's deciding what this movie's strength is in a trailer? Like, this could be bad trailer for a good movie, or it could be
a trailer trying to hide a movie that doesn't have anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we don't know. We just don't know.
We don't know.
And
We don't
that's I absolutely got the same vibe from it, where I was like, I literally went. I rarely look up what a movie's about. If
I felt like I had
this.
to.
Yeah,
to comment
and I was
on this.
like, you didn't tell me what that was about. All right,
Yep.
I'm gonna go watch.
Yep.
And then like what it's about again seems like it would be a compelling story, but I was like, man,
Agreed.
that wasn't really what the trailer made it look like at all.
I'll tell you, man. This is not a unique or interesting comment ultimately, but I think it just still deserves to be said. It just made me realize how important and great the movie Glory really is. That movie, you've seen Glory, I assume, right, from the 80s?
It's been a while, but yeah.
1989, about the 1st Black Regiment in the Civil War, is, I mean, it's dated, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it doesn't get talked about much anymore, and that's kind of a shame. Because I think it's really good. Anyway.
But yeah, I mean, for people who haven't seen the trailer, it's very clear. I'm rewatching it on mute, and another very clear thing is they're showing shots of war, right? And they show
that
like,
was why I was like, wait a minute.
yeah, and they're showing the soldiers holding a letter in one shot, but they're
which is
not
what this is
showing
about.
these women delivering the letters. All the
Right.
shot of the women in question, the main characters, is them either in a field being talked to, or in a meeting, or like in a
Right.
class. And so it's like, okay, if you're showing all these shots of war, are they going to be involved in that? Because
that's
it
what
seems like
they're
they're two separate things.
They're trying to make you believe that that's the stakes of these women's choices being in
I'm
being
sure
drafted. I'm like, well, is it?
Right. I'm sure there are important stakes to
No doubt.
what they were doing.
No doubt.
But I am like, it does, again, the trailer does seem like it is
Misleading.
purposefully misleading as a trailer. And it seems like it's frustrating only because I'm like, there is a story here. I don't know why you're leading with
believe in
this.
it, please. Could we believe in it? That would be nice.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it gives you reason not to think this movie's good when there may not be any. And also, like, if you
Exactly.
believed in it enough to make it, then stand on it. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure everyone is sort of victim to the idea of like, look, this is how you make money with a movie. You got to have these 8 things in a trailer, and it's got to it's all focus grouped and stuff. So,
But it did seem like they weren't confident, and they were like, let's sell it as a horror movie.
Yes,
instead.
That's the impression I got.
Yeah.
I agree. Does that sound like we're ready to talk about one of the worst?
2073.
One of the worst ideas I've ever seen. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I know where their heart's at, but
Man.
it's sort of so. This is, I don't know anything about the filmmaker, but they seem to have done. They did Amy.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Amy Winehouse documentary. Like,
Sure.
I think they've done documentaries. This specifically says this is not fiction. This is not a documentary. And like, I'm like, oh, so it's going to be manipulative. Like, that's what it is. The thing is it's frustrating because I agree with the concern in this trailer. We should probably say what it is. It's like a documentary / fictional thing that takes place, I assume, in 2073,
Right.
about all the threats to the world, including the sort of the fall of democracy currently, the fact that we're getting a lot of authoritarian leaders across the world, and it feels like we're getting into another stage of fascism, combined with the fact that climate change is being largely ignored by our leaders, in this country.
And in a lot of
so,
countries.
yeah.
It relies heavily on news footage, and it says the two phrases, this is not fiction, this is not a documentary.
Right. It's all vibes. Which I'm kind of, when I read that, I was like, be a documentary. Like,
But
I don't know.
it's not a fucking documentary. Like,
No, it's not. I'm saying
this offends me on so many levels.
do a different movie. That's
Yes.
a documentary.
Yes.
Because these are real concerns. And I'm like, did you ever watch Life After People? That special on history or whatever.
No, I didn't.
It had no political message. It was just, what if everybody disappeared tomorrow? What would happen to the world? Meaning, like, what would happen to nuclear power plants? What would happen to our structures? It was just taking a bunch of scientists and asking them what would happen, and then recreating it through CGI. And it was informative, but it was based off of real things. You could do something like that, where you take actual political experts and climate change experts, and you say okay, here's what it will look like.
Right, but that's not how you make any money.
Yes.
You make money by doing this sick little play that's based on an algorithm of all of our fears.
Exactly.
And
That's what
pretend
this
like
feels
it's
like.
real.
Yes.
Yeah, this is one of the most cynical ideas I've ever seen. I think. Now, I don't care the moral behind it. Like, it's like, hey, man, we got to really think about authoritarianism. Like, why do you think everyone's afraid? You think people aren't thinking about that?
Well, I guess for me, it's a real concern. I don't think this is an effective way of making other people concerned about it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, and
No.
what I mean is the people who are concerned about it are already concerned about it. The people who aren't will not be convinced by this. This felt more like one
This
of the
trivializes it.
Yeah, it feels like one of the scare films that you see in Driver's Ed. Does that make sense?
Yes, like
Yeah.
Red Asphalt. Absolutely, it feels like that. Although Red Asphalt and all those movies are actually documentaries. They don't need to say this is not fiction.
The one
this
I
is
saw
not
was
a documentary.
Mechanized Death. Mechanized
God.
Death.
Yeah, they're
but
terrible.
those were so over the top that they weren't effective either, I thought, because you'd almost be like they would dump this on you, and you would your teenage brain would short circuit, and you'd just be like, this is bullshit. And this is what this feels like, where it's it's apparently about a time traveler who goes back in time to change
warn
the
us,
course. Yeah,
a prophet of sorts. Yeah, right. But it's not fiction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like I had the same sort of frustrated feeling about the movie Civil War, but Civil War was at the very least taking a fear and then let's just have a story, right? And they did a story. They didn't claim this was history. This is.
Yeah, that's what I'm sort of saying. Where, when they say this is not fiction, this is not a documentary, I'm like, pick one.
Yeah. Yes, it is fiction.
Yeah.
Shut up. Yes,
Pick
it
one,
is.
then. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get to be like, we're in between because we're using news footage and
Yeah.
your fears to make money off of you.
Yeah, we're just sort of vibing in
Right,
between truth and fiction.
This is how strongly I feel about it. I feel that this is as disingenuous as, say, all the stuff we hate that's being said by MAGA mouthpieces. You know
I
what
was
I mean?
about to say, there's another word for something that's fiction, between fiction and documentary. It's propaganda.
Yeah, exactly.
And I happen to agree with, I think, the broad strokes of what this is saying, but propaganda is propaganda, and everybody,
Right.
and that's what it is. Where it's just, it feels like so.
And they're doing
again,
it
feels so
for
ineffective,
money.
too.
They're doing it for money. It's not out of the goodness of their hearts or out of their, solid.
It's making you
it's-
scared.
It's not their beliefs. It is to make money.
Because again, I don't know, maybe they genuinely think this will change minds, but it won't. I don't think it'll change minds.
I don't know what will happen from a movie I haven't seen. I am very skeptical of it, just like you are, and I don't think they deserve to be taken, to be given any instant credibility because of the subject matter they chose. I think, if anything, they need to prove this movie deserves to exist.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I'm sorry, and I hope that they're dead wrong about a lot of these things, and I'm afraid they might be dead right about a lot of these things.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, I do believe they deserve to be talked about and that we should be more concerned about them. But for everything you just said, I don't think this movie should exist.
No, I just don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's helpful at all.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
Well, let's move on.
By contrast, one of the most helpful movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, I do think this is a very helpful... This is the trailer for Nightbitch.
Nightbitch!
Starring Amy Adams. This is from the director of Can You Ever Forgive Me, which I haven't seen. I heard nothing but good things.
Me neither.
Also, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, which is another movie that I've heard is very good.
Yeah. Fun.
This is...
this looked great.
Yeah, Amy
This
Adams...
looked so fun.
Is a stay-at-home mom who's sort of like, you know, fed up, feeling trapped, feeling like her life is over, and she starts turning to a dog at night.
Yeah,
like a literal dog.
Like a lot of
Like a
great
werewolf.
film ideas now. Sorry, I hope we should hold for...
What were we holding
There was a siren on my end that I know you will hear.
Oh,
Sorry, and we're done now.
okay. I'm not going to cut that.
Okay, fine, great. There it is. I hope you enjoy how podcasting worked, everyone.
A little peek under the curtain.
Like
Behind the curtain. Sorry.
You just don't want to cut anything. Like
Nah.
a lot of great movie ideas now. It waited until about a minute and a half into the trailer to give you and actually it's this.
Yeah.
Because for a while you're like, okay, this is a movie about a woman losing her mind, raising a kid, being a homemaker at home, and like that would have been a fine movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's okay. But then it took this great twist, and it was like, oh shit! This is
I love
very
how we
good
make
now.
movies now. Because we
Yeah,
make
me
movies
too.
basically by being like, let's just be really fucking weird. Like we're
And
just
fun.
we're just so beyond like, you know, telling just a regular story anymore that we have to be like, what can we fucking do to make this so weird?
Well, I think in a way it's sort of creating a new cultural understanding of what our stories mean.
That's true.
So, like, because you know, on a sort of around the campfire ancient sense, this is new mythology, right?
Yes. Yeah. What it is that like, it's just funny that surrealist art was always a thing, but
Correct.
it was very niche because I think that stories needed to be sort of get more sophisticated over time. And now that we've gotten into this like this weird state where we've told every story, we know everything. We're so used to like broad or heady sci-fi concept
Content,
that
yeah.
we just now making surrealist art as mainstream films.
Well,
and
it's-
I'm so into that where I'm like,
It's a new way of externalizing an internal conflict.
yeah.
Like in, you know, probably 30 years ago, or maybe even before that, 40 years ago, you could do a movie like this and it would just be the on its face version of this woman's really having a hard time adjusting to this concept. You know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
to this lifestyle. And that would have been a fine movie.
Yeah, you
But
make
we-
it like a comedy or like a
We've seen it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've seen it. So this is a new way of externalizing her rage and dissatisfaction, and I think that's a good thing.
yeah. And it's
know?
Amy Adams. Who
Exactly.
is
It's Amy Adams is a
so
huge part of it.
fucking good.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You would never think she would do a movie like this. That's why it's so great.
Oh, I sort of would because she's
Okay,
done
great.
a lot of. She's sort of one of those actors that's like she'll do like weird indie stuff and then she'll do Justice League. You know, like she'll do
Yeah.
both. She'll do
I feel like-
Nocturnal Animals and then
But
she'll,
that was a normal movie. Like Justice League is like every actor must agree to pay the beast and
Right.
receive money
and be
that's
paid
you know,
by the beast. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like this is much more of a fun choice for her than a lot of movies I've seen her do.
She tends to be too serious, or
Yes.
rather get cast
too
as a
seriously.
serious role. Like even like Arrival and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, yeah, it is nice to see her like have fun.
I do think she's in a different phase of her career. Because she was doing a lot of accolade prestige movies for like 10 or 15 years, and they were all very good. And then, you know, time moves on, and she's no longer in her 30s, I would guess. And like, you know, now she's got to pick roles that are sort of different than those roles, right?
Yeah.
You got a little smirk on your face. What do you got there, Dave?
No, I'm just thinking about movies.
Me too.
Yeah.
I will say, and I know this is probably not the most popular opinion either, but I kind of wish Hollywood would stop making every homemaker story about how miserable the homemaker is. I just think that's a little bit of a cliche and a stereotype at this point.
It's it's the American beauty of it all, right? Where I think before the recession, we were making all these movies about how like, can you believe it? Having like a nice house and a good job, and it's so miserable. And now it's like, people are like, man, I'd love to live in the apartment from Fight Club. I can't believe he blew it up. And so like it's sort of the same thing where it's like, I hate the fact that I have a family and a house, and you're just like, it seems fine, but like
also there's more than one opinion about that culturally.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like and it's just a little bit.
But
I don't want to get on my high horse about this. It's just kind of a cliche.
Yeah, this is sort of around it, though. Like, you're having the part where the husband's like, happiness is a choice or whatever. Like, where it's this idea of this woman who is just fundamentally depressed. She gave up her career and, like...
Yeah.
It's... So, like, I get what you mean, which is, like, again, this was a phase that we've gone in and out of, which is, like, the suburban hell, where it's, like, I don't know, a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, a lot of people like that life. Like there's a huge percentage of people like that life. Yeah.
But this movie obviously like makes up for it hugely.
Absolutely.
With being an extremely fun premise.
Absolutely. And I want more movies that are fun like this.
Yeah.
Like this was
I'll take a series. I'll take a Nightbitch series.
Yeah, I would order this straight to series immediately.
Yeah.
No doubt. I absolutely would.
Best name for a movie. I'm now curious.
Nightbitch? Oh yeah.
I'm wondering, I wonder if there's any other movies with this title that are like from the 70s. Like this feels like a 70s like detective like.
I don't think the 70s were this like gonzo about movies.
It's
you know what I mean?
One of those
like
combinations of words where I'm like, I can't believe we haven't combined these words before.
Right. I mean, it definitely feels like a sketch we would have written 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? Like 100%.
You're right. It feels like it's either that or like the name of a song, like like an Alanis Morissette song or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you I haven't thought of her in 15 years.
I think about her every day.
Oh, no doubt. She's your jagged little pill, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You swallow it every day.
Yeah. You want to talk about this next trailer?
I do. I'd also like to talk more about Alanis Morissette. I'm just opening the door for that. Dave.
She's great. I love Alanis Morissette. She's such a
underrated.
maniac.
I kind of liked her. I kind of liked that follow-up record a little bit to Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah.
Like the one that she was like kind of hopeful.
Yeah. I mean, I like her when she was like, I'm just going to be a maniac. I'm just going to be out of
running
control.
Around. Yeah. I mean, here's like a weird, like, hopeful anthem.
Yeah.
Didn't think that was happening. Isn't that ironic? You know?
Yeah. Don't you think?
I do. Anyway, Queen of Villains.
This was for you.
Yes, I felt it immediately. I was like, Dave, thank you for caring about me. I really appreciate it.
It might be a series. It's from Japan.
It did seem like a lot of story, actually.
It felt like it could be either. Why isn't it coming up? Oh,
because it's a thing you and I both
it's
fantasized. Yeah. Okay, great. It is a series. Yeah, that makes sense. It does feel like it has a larger story than a movie could do.
Oh, yeah. It's about a woman who's always wanted to be a professional wrestler since she was a child.
Yeah, it's great.
And she achieves that dream. I assume as a heel.
But she's also not... She doesn't fit, I think, body stereotypes and stuff that wrestlers would have had in her culture, right? I got the feeling like that because isn't there a bunch of commentary about her weight and stuff?
There is. It's hard to tell if that was if that's.
Well, I got the feeling like the conflict that was brewing between her and the protagonist was like I'm going to put these words in quotes, the hot one versus the ugly one kind of conflict, right? And like that's kind of like her sort of leaning into that was sort of a big cultural shift.
Probably
is the vibe this story gives off.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true.
I mean, you can find out because this is based off a true story.
Everything is, Dave,
yeah,
including
this is
Nightbitch.
A real wrestler from the 80s out of Japan, and it screams 80s. It's it looks like very brutal. There's lots of like blood and stuff like that.
Okay,
I
great.
love that we're just making wrestling things more.
Yeah. Well, we're making video game things. Why not wrestling things?
And wrestling things, I think people realized. I think since the movie The Wrestler, people are like, yeah, being a wrestler, it was really fucking hardcore, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I also think since The Rock, people were like, huh, maybe wrestlers tell interesting stories and can be decent actors, and like
It's great. It's such good story fodder because you are, being a professional wrestler, you are just naturally an underdog, especially in the 80s and 90s, because it's like, okay, so you're getting hurt all the time, you're broke, and everybody thinks you're a joke. You're the ultimate underdog no matter who you are. And so, like, this is a perfect story for something like that.
So the log line of this is a little more clear than the trailer was. As a young woman, Dump Matsumoto hoped to become a successful professional wrestler while playing a good character. She got fired from her job and makes the fateful decision to perform as an evil character. So that was clear that it was clear that she performed as a villain, and everybody loved it instead of being repulsed by it. And that's the best thing if you're a wrestler, the very best thing you can do is be a great heel.
Yeah,
it's the number one thing. It's the best, because if you do that well enough, you'll become a hero. Like, that's all the good ones that are not Hulk Hogan. That's what they did. Stone Cold did it. The Rock did it. They all do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is this looks. What is this
great.
coming on Netflix? Yeah.
Yeah. I could see watching it. It's coming out this year.
Oh yeah. This
Thursday,
trailer.
September 19th is, I believe, the series premiere.
That is soon.
Yeah, so I could see old Daver and I bundling up with some Sbarro and checking this out. I
God,
can see that.
I want that now.
Why
would
I
you
was
mention
pushing
Sbarro?
your buttons? You know why? Because they're our sponsor, as you know.
Oh yeah.
I love bringing back jokes. Love it. Also, the name Dump Matsumoto.
Great name.
Incredible name. Yeah. What a thrill. This looks great. I'm all in on it. I don't watch wrestling anymore unless I am asked to do it by you, basically. Mm-hmm. But every wrestling thing gets my heart back online. I'm like, oh yeah, we should be doing that.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Speaking of great things that we love.
Yeah.
Final trailer. This is for Rippy. This is I'll sum it up. Jaws with a kangaroo. It's about a sheriff who the locals are being killed by a kangaroo. The sheriff is Michael Biehn, or one of them is Michael
Biehn.
So it's Michael Biehn fighting a kangaroo, which they could have just called it that.
A zombie kangaroo.
Seems to be so
zombie kangaroo. Yeah, they're clear about that. Yeah.
For our Australians listening, I'm sure there's probably saying like, you don't need to make the kangaroo extra. Just make it a kangaroo.
I've heard they're already enough. Yeah.
They'll
it's just
drown
a big
you.
kangaroo.
They could drown you.
Yeah.
They are fucking. They're just
they're
monster deer.
Yeah.
They're like mutant deers.
Yeah, with they have natural balance because their tails are like a tripod.
Yeah, they run on hate.
Yeah, they're naturally ripped.
Yeah,
it's just disgusting.
They're
like
one
buff.
of those. Yeah, they're one of those animals that if you didn't know they existed, and like as an adult, someone showed you a picture, you'd just be like, "That's a lie."
Yeah,
like I don't believe.
Like,
I don't believe.
Fake news. Is what I would say.
I would never accept that a kangaroo existed today.
No way. All I wrote for notes on this, Dave, I think you'll appreciate it, is rarely we see a perfect film.
Yeah.
But my eyes have seen the glory.
Yeah. This is one of those where it was like,
Just
why
right.
did it take so fucking long to make? Like,
Yeah, just right.
yeah, evil kangaroo.
Nothing wrong about it. It's like I thought they were going to be a little like I thought the kangaroo was going to be more like they're going to try to take it seriously, and then they cut to it and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
All the way in now.
It's just the right amount of budget, meaning that like it looks like they got some good gory practical stuff, and the kangaroo looks good for a CGI 15 years ago.
Yeah, it's
10
going to be
years
stupid.
ago.
It's going to be stupid in a way that I think everyone will appreciate.
Yeah.
This movie is unapologetically for the people that will watch it.
And it seems to be taking itself seriously enough. Like, Like
Yeah, yeah.
Cocaine Bear was a movie that was fun, but I almost wish they had taken it more seriously. And
Agreed.
this feels like they're like really like we got to do something about this fucking kangaroo. And it's like, yeah, it's killing people.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah. I already kind of agreed with you before I saw it.
Yeah,
Seeing it only reinforced my impression.
yeah.
Also, Michael Biehn, and I'm not saying this to be a dick, I literally did not know he was still alive. Like, I was like thrilled.
He's
I was
around.
thrilled. Yeah. I haven't seen him in a thing in a very long time.
He
I was excited.
he was in one of the Grindhouse. He was in Planet Terror.
That was 10, 15 years ago, Dave.
He has done some voice stuff. I know that.
Sure.
But yeah,
I'm not belittling
he was,
him.
I guess
It's just
in The
been a-
Walking Dead, he was
Yeah.
in The Mandalorian. He's basically like he's jumping around.
He's in
jumping
TV
around.
stuff I'm not watching, is what you mean, which is fine.
And indie
again,
films.
not a belittling remark, more
yeah.
just like, oh, I was thrilled that he's around. I'm excited about that.
He was in The Scorpion King 4, which did
Missed
you know
that.
there was up to 4 Scorpion Kings? 'Cause
Can't
I
believe
didn't.
that either. Can't believe that. That film seems like the zombie kangaroo that the movie industry can't kill.
Yeah,
That franchise, you know? Yeah.
that's
Really excited. Really, actually, that had really bummed me out, that information. I think I
Yeah, no,
need to
it bummed
thank
me out too. I'm like,
I think I need to thank a producer to cleanse the palate here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Let's thank some more producers, shall
Yeah,
we?
yeah, let's do it.
Big old thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank you.
Thank you to David Knife Boot Henson.
Boot.
Thank you to Deborah's awesome. Barbara's great, and cancer can go to hell.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula the bus driving vampire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Driftless, Lord of the Wasteland wants you to just walk away.
Okay, thank
Thank you
you.
to Ed Nog.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you to
you.
Exploding Runes.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J mostly comes out at night. Mostly.
Thank you.
Thank you to the wicked, awesome misadventures of Matt Damon. Thank you to Heathcliff.
Actually, thank you. I sincerely thank you, sir.
Thank you to Heathcliff's helping handfuls.
Thank you.
Thank you to Highlander likes the way Tom says pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet. Yeah, it's
Thank
it's
you.
very South Park the way he does that.
Yeah.
Let me get in here again, Dave. Thanks to Ombre.
Thank you.
Thanks to ImpossibleWorlds.net, a magazine, and there's a podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks to J. Anya Taylor-Joy's Baron Black Thumb.
Thank you.
I need to read these ahead of time, make sure they're not going to get me in trouble. Thanks to Chris Shanovich.
Thank you.
Thanks to Lieutenant Frank Drebin, Police Squad.
Thank you.
Thanks to Look Mom on a Podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick Chill.
Thank you.
Thanks to Mercurial Laws.
Thank y'all.
Thanks to Mike the Lurker.
Thanks.
Thanks to Mongolian Throat Skanking.
Thank you.
I have always been thankful to that person. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Always.
Let's talk about news stories. We got
Yeah.
so Ian McKellen has been approached for the Gollum Lord of the Rings movie that shouldn't
Sure.
be made.
Sure. This is where the Rogue One comment fit in. Yeah, it shouldn't be made, but there is story to be told there. It's like, okay, like I'm not instantly offended by it.
I agree. That's why I really enjoy the Rings of Power.
I do too. I think they're good.
But
That-
this feels like I feel like Andy Serkis is lobbying Hollywood all the time to do mocap things. And like I feel like the Gollum,
He's directing this, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's some because they made that Gollum game too that was terrible.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Someone
Yeah.
thinks that we really want more Gollum, and
Yeah.
I think it's because they think he's like the kids movie character of Lord of the Rings or something because he's a cartoon.
Abjectly false.
Yes.
Yeah, pure
But
false.
there seems to be this like we need more Gollum. Like there's some producer like give me Gollum, and I don't think we need this movie based off Gandalf looking for Gollum. I believe that was a montage in the first Lord of the Rings, if I have that correctly.
That's correct. And it was a montage in the books, F everybody's eye.
Yeah.
Like it was summarized by Gandalf in a paragraph.
It's not a pivotal moment, unlike Rogue One,
No.
Finding Gollum is not really because the thing is Gollum doesn't have the ring or anything. It's literally Gandalf trying to get information. It's an exposition dump.
Yeah, who is, like, what do you
is the
know,
ring?
Gollum?
It's basically
Yeah.
him trying to figure out what the ring is. And he goes, hold on, I got to go look. And so, like,
I'm deeply concerned that we're going to learn about the fate of Radagast the Brown and shit in this movie. You know what I mean?
Like they're
or
gonna
there's
try to make
songs
it
we don't
important.
want. Yeah.
And it's just not that important. And whereas Rings of Power feels like it's like the Forging of the Rings, I'm like, yeah, that was actually like that whole prologue in Lord of the Rings is like its own movie. You know, it's like, oh, they defeated this guy once. Like I can see telling that story.
Yeah, I could see which they are doing. That's what we're leading to, and okay.
And
I'm
like,
excited
how
about
did these
that.
rings get made? I'm like, that is a good question.
But that stuff is covered in works too, by the way. Like they do have text to work from for Rings of Power.
Right.
This is 2 paragraphs in a dialogue in a book that we already saw.
Yeah.
So it's
it
a
has
concern.
good writers. It's the original trilogy writers, but it's not. They were going off of source material. It just doesn't. I don't know. It's one of those movies that like I might not even see. They have to really sell me on this because I'm like I am not interested. And if Ian McKellen literally says I'll be there if I'm alive because he's fucking 85.
Yeah. Oh man.
And
that was like, oh fuck, he's getting old now.
Yeah. And it's like, it would. I don't know, what would it fucking be? Would it be like Gandalf telling a story of like, I should tell you about the time? Because The Hunt for Gollum, again, is specifically a Gandalf story, I thought. And it's like, they're not going to get Ian McKellen for this. They might for a few scenes. They'll have him sit on a green screen. But where we might inevitably get like, are they going to fucking de-age him? Or like, because Hollywood is allergic to recasting now for some reason.
I understand the reluctance to recast Gandalf in this role.
Yeah.
Except for that, like, it's got to be the Irishman. You know what I mean? Like, the Irishman
but I don't even
had the problem of, like, you can't un-85-year-old an actor.
Right.
Like, you can make him look younger in the face, but
which is
in terms of movement and stuff, you can't change that.
I think we're hitting this really kind of dark period where, because Andy Serkis, again, very big on mocap. And he's a good actor.
Great
and
actor.
He's
Absolutely.
a good mocap actor.
Yeah, sure.
But that tells me that they are going to get another actor and they're going to slap Ian McKellen's face on it, whether he's dead or alive, and they're going to slap his voice on it because Andy Serkis is so ride or die for this, where he's like, we can do anything now. We can just digital and...
you're putting a lot of this on Andy Serkis specific.
Yeah, it's just that combination of like, this is a Gandalf story plus this mocap actor-director. It just gives me very bad vibes.
It's also, I believe, an Aragorn story. If I remember correctly from the books, Aragorn was had a huge part in that chase.
It's just
and he's
like,
getting kind of old.
Yeah, we're getting...
You know?
There was they dug up someone for the Alien movie. They dug up an actor.
Okay.
And it was really baffling. Like, it was one of those where it's like there was a simple solution. So there's been in the conversation a lot, which is like, just let dead people be dead. Like, we have to... Hollywood has this weird thing where they want to transcend death now because they have this like feeling of like, we could do anything.
That's a human desire, Dave. But it's a
like,
bummer to see it play out in movies, though.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it's like, recast it, or you know what? Accept that you can't make more of these. Accept that you can't make more Indiana Joneses. Accept that you can't make certain things if they're hinged on actors. So either start over or
make a new thing.
I'll
never forget. I want to say it was like an AFI celebration of Tom Hanks when in like the year 2002.
Yeah.
Right? They gave him like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and he kept talking about, this is in my memory, he kept talking about how the work he's done in movies, it's going to last forever.
Right.
You know, and it was like, and they were all like nodding like, yeah, man, this is forever. And that was the moment where it occurred to me like, oh man, like none of these people are okay with the ride stopping, you know, because the ride stops. Like, you know, the ride stops. I think this telling the story of Lord of the Rings, like the individual pieces of it with the same actors like that, the ride stops, man. We did it.
And it feels like they're just this feels so much like sucking the marrow out, where they're like, what's the story? Can we get a story in here? What's the story we can tell? And that's why, like, you contrast it with Rings of Power, which is like, okay, we're gonna be a TV show. We're not gonna be the Peter Jackson world.
No.
And we're going to focus on an actual story, and we're going to do a TV show that's that's different, more stretched out. It's like, yeah, that's what you do. Like, I've been saying this a few times. Stop making Jurassic World movies. Make a Jurassic Park TV show.
Yes.
That's just the book. Make like a more R-rated, more adult Jurassic Park mini-series, I guess. Like you did Westworld.
I think I would be really interested in not a dark version, but like a more science-minded procedural version of Jurassic Park, like the book. I would be interested in that.
The book is so fascinating because of that shit.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of like chaos math and like how the computer systems work and and they don't have any of that shit in the movie because the movie was made by somebody who understood what entertainment was for its time. You know,
but they're so creatively bankrupt that hasn't even occurred to anyone. Of like, no, we got to just keep packing on these Jurassic worlds, and we just can't let this thing that was big in the 90s go.
I think it's interesting you feel this strongly about the Gollum movie, but not about the World War II as a subject matter.
Oh, no,
I feel like
I agree with you.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Every week we have a World War II movie. It's like, no, man, no more.
Let it go. Yeah,
let it go.
I totally agree. It's just, it's more. It feels more pathetic when it's like this. When it's like actors who are aging, and it's like you can't. You got to accept this. Like that Indiana Jones sequence where they de-aged him. Yeah, right. I'm just like, this is sad, guys. Like, he's old. Let him be old. And you either write an Indiana Jones story about him being old, where he's like struggling, or just move on.
They just forgot. Like, I think at a certain point when you've been in films a long time, you forget that you can't unfeel things that your brain normally feels as a movie watcher. Like, because, you start to believe, we could, as long as you put it on screen, people feel the way they feel about it. It's like, no, you got to do the thing that makes us feel like you got to do actual filmmaking and work with the human brain a bit. Like, you have to do that. And you can't trick us into thinking he's not really 85 anymore. Like, yeah, he is.
Or this matters. Yeah, like, this is, I don't know. I did a whole cracked thing on breaking down Jurassic World and why that first one was so desperate, where it was like, they were doing these John Williams music cues, but it was like not understanding why the cue existed in the original. Yes. And it's like they didn't know how to make it or how to bring back that awe. And it's like, get someone who knows how to make, serious things, have them start from the book and start over. And like, similarly, if you want to fucking suck the marrow out of Lord of the Rings, I don't know, you're already doing that with Rings of Power perfectly fine, where I'm like, stop trying like that there's a cartoon about there's that cartoon coming out that seems fun. Like,
what's the cartoon about?
About fucking the
Silmarillion,
Rohan or whatever, those fucking
that's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
actually,
Lord
of the Rings is a very dense world that has enough to sustain multiple projects. So we don't need to go to the specific story of Lord of the Rings again.
Right. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but do young Gandalf then. You know what I mean? Like, except
they're doing that. Spoilers.
If you want to, they are. But if you want to keep making Lord of the Rings stuff, you have to accept. It's also that like Marvel brain where it's like it's all got to connect, and it's like no, just say
that is a problem.
We're doing something new. Like, it doesn't have to be more fucking Peter Jackson stuff. I don't want them to remake Lord of the Rings because why?
No,
would
I don't want that either. No, why? Those are seminal. It's like Hollywood always gets this idea, but there's a reason we don't want to watch a redone Casablanca. I don't want to see that. It works,
Yeah, and so like ultimately what I'd like is for them to just stop and find the next Lord of the Rings.
Just keep making new stuff. Yeah. Like, it's not always going to work, but you need to devise a system where every film doesn't need to be Lord of the Rings to survive. That's the problem.
Yeah, and it's starting to feel like now we're starting to see like the desperation. It feels like with some of these properties where it was like they can't give it up, so we're just starting to see like Ian McKellen being like, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. They've asked me. I'm 85.
There's no script. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know why I would be all right. Where it's like, just let it fucking go. It's done. It's over. The people involved are getting too old or dying. Like
it's okay.
Gotta move on.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But you know what we do need more of?
Oh, dude. I literally couldn't believe this.
We
Absolutely couldn't believe it.
need more Twilight.
No, we
Adam.
don't, Dave.
The animated
I'll never watch
series.
this. Not watching it, Dave. You aren't watching it either. Not going to watch it. Never will have watched it.
God, that
Not
doesn't-
watching it, Dave.
I don't know. Something about that pings me saying that. I don't know.
Dave, I want you to realize this is okay. So it's an animated series about Twilight, right?
Based off the novel Midnight Sun, which
Yes.
is the events of Twilight from Edward's
perspective.
We get to see him
loved it.
gaslight her from his
I loved it.
perspective.
I was like, I want this to be old-timey silent film narration, and he just keeps having visions of his parents dying of polio or some shit
Yeah.
while he's pretending to be a high schooler. Like that. That's
Yeah.
what I want. I just want him to be like a riverboat captain, remembering that, like from the 1890s, while he's learning basic high school botany or whatever the fuck.
Can I pitch
You
a
know?
Twilight to you?
Sure, I won't know what you mean, but sure, I'll never understand it.
All right. Stephanie Meyer, if you're listening, I know you're listening.
You,
Make a book
yeah.
called Twilight 3000.
We did
And it
this
is-
already, didn't we?
Okay, I don't
Did we
know,
do this
but
bit?
just
All right.
have the characters
Right.
in a cyberpunk future as cyberpunk vampires. You got another $1 billion on your hands. There.
I don't. I mean, you and I never watched this, but I seem to recall that if we had and discussed it, you had the idea of like after they get divorced 1,000 years into the future, they reunite again while being opposing military commanders. or
That
some
would be
shit.
great.
Yeah,
I mean, they
yeah.
would get a
You had this
divorce
idea.
pretty fast, considering that she's bound to at some point step back and realize what happened
For
to
a
her life.
vampire, marriage is the ultimate nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
you're
Hypothetically,
all
we-
eternity. No, that's not
Yeah.
going to work. You know,
If we had
No.
a podcast about this, we'd probably talk about the fact that Edward's like 3,000 years old. Like it's like she's actually a high school age in the movies, so it's like he's definitely racist, every kind of racist probably.
Yeah.
And he probably is just weird and old and
That's
watches
right. What if in his inner monologue,
Yeah, he's just racist.
oh yeah, just
and he doesn't
just
understand
classic
anything.
racism.
I want to see Edward
Yeah.
trying to use a smartphone.
Yeah,
Just
incredible.
getting mad.
The boxes, they keep flipping on me.
Yeah.
I agree. I want him to. His inner monologue is very important. We all need it.
Yes.
That's why this project deserves to exist. I'll never
mean-
watch it, but we need it.
I want his inner monologue to be like, what was that movie, The Informant? I want it to just be a series of non sequiturs. He's just thinking about stuff, you know?
I just wanted like every horrible thing he's seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I want is just like everything he learns in high school triggers some traumatic memories collected over the last 150 years. You know
I
what
want
I mean?
moments where he's just like he's in like I want a shot where he's like kissing Bella, and then the voiceover just goes, "I met Hitler once," and then nothing else, no follow up, and then he just moves on.
He's gonna be basically Ben from Lost. He's
Yeah.
just gonna have like every non sequitur is gonna lead to some untangled truth about his past. That's
Yeah.
like there's some dark twist. Oh, there was a little while I was a spy for China. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like just oh shit, dude.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just like old timey himbo.
Yeah, Mao got
Who's
the
been
idea
a-
for the Cultural Revolution from me.
Oh, I want him to Forrest Gump all of history.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it should be. Edward Forrest Gump's History is what this should be titled.
Yeah.
And then I might actually watch a Twilight thing.
It's all to say there's a lot of meat on this bone.
Oh, yeah. This is marrow that we can't stop sucking.
This
Gotta
is
suck all of it.
This is a smart move. Like this is smart. This is coming out of Netflix, and they're just like, "Yeah, this is money in the bank." You
Yeah,
know,
they're like, nothing could go bad here. We're going to live forever.
I mean, Twilight is
yeah.
like, yeah. I shudder at the day that podcasters will be like, "Let Twilight die." The first ones were art. Let it
Yeah,
die. You know,
me too.
like I shudder at that.
I shudder at that, too. I hope they have an extended conversation about abortion rights as vampires. I really, I
They
want them
must
to
be
get right into
complicated
that.
because a vampire
Exactly.
abortion sounds complicated. Sounds like
necessary,
it would be tough.
necessary in that world. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
a whole
of
question.
all yeah. I don't know where'd you begin with that. I mean, we've seen what their babies look like, and it was like,
yeah.
oh my god,
Yeah.
Get rid of that.
I forgot about the baby I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about it. Oh, boy.
Horrifying baby.
I'm so glad I never saw it.
Yeah.
Oh.
That
Yeah.
if we saw it, we would know that Jacob. What does he do?
Everyone's
Imprints?
a pedophile.
He imprints.
Yeah, imprints.
They could have
Yeah.
named Twilight "Everyone's a Pedophile."
Everyone's a
for sure.
pedophile. Yeah, well, in Forks.
Yeah.
Everyone's a pedophile in Forks is what it could have been called.
That's what this series could be called.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
series name. That sounds
she-
like a show.
All we've done is help people today. That's
Yeah.
really all we've done. It's all we ever do. It's all we have done. Yeah.
Well, you know what? Speaking of helping people, we should talk. We should call out some more people who helped us.
Oh, yeah. Gratitude is the fuel that lights our fire, Dave.
All right. This is
Yeah.
a big old thing.
It's like, fucking fine, okay? I don't need your sentiments here. Thanks to this guy.
Big old thank you to Mr. Tell Your Wife how many Patreon subscriptions you have before you agree to buy a house. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie.
Thank you.
Thank you to Norm from Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pete Pagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pneumono Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcano Coniosis Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Jones. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to pre-order Jason Pargin's new book so he can keep making big feats.
Thank
Do
you.
it. Thank you to
Please
Psychic Bigfoot.
Thank you.
Thank you to Rev MD.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you. This is a good name. I hope that's this person's real name.
Yeah, me too.
Just out in the world named Ricky Salon. That's a great name.
Oh, yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead. We talked
Thank
about
you.
that today.
Yeah, we kind of did.
Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank you.
Thank you to Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist.
Thank you.
Thank you to Stephen.
Thank you. And thanks to his musical number that Dave's beginning now.
Yeah.
Thanks to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head.
Thank you.
Thanks to Tom's baby.
Thank you.
I love that placement. Thanks
Oh,
to the
yeah.
Midnight Patron. What? Patrons at Midnight.
Thank you.
Thanks to the Municipal Medicinal Arsonist.
Thanks.
Thanks to the Oatmeal Savage.
Thank you.
Thanks to the To Be Terror Bunny thinks you could use more Rutger Hauer in your media diet.
Yum, yum.
Thanks to these 7 Bs.
Thank you.
Thanks to Tiger Drawers, Pratt Thompson sings Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thanks to Tux.
Tux.
Thanks to Vincent.
Thank you.
Thanks to Why Don't You Take a Flying Fuck at the Moon?
Thanks.
Nightbitch. Thanks to Yorgos from the island of Crete.
Thank you.
Thanks to your mom.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Aw.
That was great.
Aw, jeez.
Nightbitch. I'll tell you.
That bitch.
That's a real home run.
It is.
Nightbitch. Yeah, the
Movie
more I
of the
think
year.
about it, the more I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
a movie.
Oh, I
That's
feel
definitely
like,
a movie.
yeah, when that was pitched, they're like, we have a fucking movie.
Yeah, I think so,
That's what a
too.
movie is.
I think that one and this one that we're about to talk about. Because Dave, shut up. Dave, shut up and start talking about something that deserves more hype.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Because you asked.
Thank
I
you,
want to
Dave.
tell you all about the universal theory, originally titled The Theory of Everything, for way too long. You'd think at some point someone would go like, wait,
Isn't
let me
there,
Google that.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah.
This is having a limited release September of this year, which is this
wow.
month.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a black and white film. The director is was a cinematographer, so it's a beautiful.
you can
film.
see that. Yeah.
It takes place in the 60s during the Cold War, where a group of scientists are meeting in Switzerland in like the
Yep.
mountains.
On the Alps.
Yep.
Yep.
And they are having like they're a bunch of like, wicked smart guys, professors, scientists, and they're having this conference and they start having these theories about like the universe and shit. It's vague. But there's also mention of booze and LSD, which,
That piqued Dave's interest. Dave was
Yeah.
immediately interested. Those guys, by the way, the scientists, are the equivalent of that South Park meme that I love so much, which is just anytime a bunch of people talking, it's blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
Yeah,
Like that's
exactly.
that's my favorite South Park contribution to culture, by the way.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Like that's how all these dudes feel, and it's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at a nearby mountain, there is a facility where, like, the government or somebody is doing something sinister there. A scientist is found dead in the snow, and yet he keeps showing back up again afterwards.
Yep, love that.
And I'll just tell you, it's a multiverse. This feels very much in line with the movie Coherence, if you've seen that, which is a very good multiverse movie and very indie. In that, unlike a lot of, big Hollywood films right now, there hasn't been that much, except for indie, exploration as the multiverse as being terrifying.
Right.
Being that idea of like, if the multiverse is everything, that means there's terrifying things and terrifying versions of you.
Right.
And so this quote is basically, imagine that one of Hitchcock's villains, say the guy missing the tip of a pinky in the 39 Steps, or the shrink who ruins the Institute in Spellbound, did not simply come from a place of murderous intent, but from a different place altogether, perhaps another dimension. Basically, this is described as like a Hitchcockian multiverse film.
So lean heavily on the Hitchcock.
Yeah.
It feels very Hitchcockian in the very best way.
Yeah.
Like absolutely great.
It's like
on
a
that
mystery
level.
Hitchcock thriller.
Yeah, it's a noir film in the classic sense. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool looking film, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this.
I was very excited about this. I was like, this is exactly what I want movies about this subject to do.
Right, because again, the multiverse, I mean, we can have fun with it, and we have, and it is fun. But like, it is weird to me that the multiverse isn't treated more as this like creepy, mysterious thing, where I think we're currently obsessed with going into new universes, where I'm like, that's not the hook of the multiverse. It's other universes coming into us.
Yes, it's aliens invading is what it is.
Yes, it's not knowing. It's or if it is going to another universe, it's walking in going, what is this gonna be?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this going to be bad? And like VHS had a multiverse one that was really good. And again, Coherence. They're few and far in between, but like it's such a better version. And so this isn't like mutants or monsters. I don't think. We don't know. But it is definitely this idea of like this. Clearly, this scientist who died and keeps coming back. It's clearly like a more sinister version of him or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much because they don't tell us enough, but they tell us enough to make me want to see it, rather.
Yeah, this was a great trailer in that it doesn't overstay its welcome. It gives you everything you want to know about the film to understand what it's about and to be intrigued. It's a really strong trailer.
Yes, it is.
Including like the classic score I really liked. It's just, I wish more movies were like this. I realize that it's because more movies aren't like this that this one stands out.
For sure.
So, I don't want 50 trailers like this, but this movie just looks great. I'm really into it.
The universal theory, if you're in New York or LA or you got an indie theater near you, take a look, see if it comes out near you this month. Otherwise, I assume it'll be on streaming in the future. But
probably,
definitely
I
check
would
out
bet
the trailer.
simultaneously. Let's see when it actually comes out.
When it drops.
It's from last year.
Yeah, it's a very indie films. They take a while.
It has a surprisingly low IBDM or IMDb. Wow.
Its Rotten Tomatoes is around 80, although Rotten Tomatoes is such a fucking the 27th. September 27th.
Okay, so pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
A couple
it's got
weeks.
A fun little poster too.
That's one I definitely want to watch. I'm in for that.
Yeah, me too.
Turbo in for it.
Balls deep.
That's the dream.
That is the dream.
I also really appreciate a movie that is in German and has all German actors, and it's like that's what it is, man.
Yeah, it's going to be wicked German.
Yeah, they don't sneak like they don't sneak George Clooney in this movie.
Oh no,
he's not snuck in here.
Yeah, take it or leave it. You want
Kate
Germans?
Blanchett's not snuck in here. Like it's we're doing Germans here.
We're doing Germans.
I like it. I'm in on that.
Adam, thank you so much for being
Hey, my pleasure. Is it 2 hours yet? Is it 3 hours yet?
No.
How did we do?
We're only an hour.
Oh, this is
20.
short. Oh,
yeah,
man. Do you want to just you want to play cards or something?
I guess. What's up with you?
What have you been up to, Dave?
Oh, what's your deal? Yeah.
So I got a great deal. I unblurred my background for you. Did you appreciate that?
I did appreciate that.
I also have
nice
Cheez-Its back there that I'm like, man, I wish those were here right now.
Yeah, inside of you. Yeah.
Cheez-Its were inside of me. Yeah. Really do.
Cheez-Its are great.
I wish that. Yeah. This is the time of year where I laugh when people start talking about fall. I laugh my ass off. People are like, "Oh, it's fall," and everyone forgets. Yeah, September in Los Angeles is when the world remembers. Oh, heat waves and
oh yeah,
the
I
worst
miss New England.
things about climate change are happening again. You know?
Even New England, it's warm, but like I miss like classic New England fall, but. Like,
Yeah.
I visited in October once, Massachusetts, and it was still, like, warm and not fall enough. So it's like, it's all getting pushed. It's all getting delayed.
Exactly. This is the week it used. When I was a kid, this week would happen in July
Yeah.
or like early August, where it was like, oh, it's 100 degrees for a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now it's like that shit's going to happen in Thanksgiving by the time I'm 60, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just what it's going to be, you know?
We're just canceling it.
We're canceling things.
Canceling.
No gratitude. A world without any gratitude. That's the world that we have to look forward to.
We won't be thankful.
Yeah, well, who can help us? Nightbitch.
Nightbitch. It should be a
Nightbitch.
superhero.
That's the sequel. Nightbitch
Yeah.
2, you know? The bitching
right.
or whatever we call it, you know?
The bitching. I think you nailed it first try.
Yeah. Sometimes I have a good first draft.
What
What else?
what's going on with you?
Yeah. Oh, so many things, Dave. Nothing that I can make money off of from you currently. But, you know, again, Lynchpins is out there if anybody wants to go see that. We've done 4 episodes. Pretty sure we're going to start getting to the really big movies any second now. Like, I may or may not be going to watch Blue Velvet right after this. I might be going to watch that.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah. And, you know, documentaries have been made, scripts are getting written. You know how it is, Dave.
Wheeling and dealing, yeah.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
At least wheeling. Lots of wheeling, Dave.
Lots of wheeling.
So much wheeling. What you been wheeling on, Dave?
Oh, I'm
Anything?
wheeling hard. No,
Yeah.
just, you know, people should check out our Patreon, patreon.com/gamefully unemployed, GAMEFULLY unemployed, or go to gamefullyunemployed.com. That'll get you a link to our Teespring store. And let me tell you, we have a brand new shirt. It's Mulder versus Batman.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah, check it out. It's beautiful. Beautiful shirt.
Dave, have you ever thought of a shirt that's just notebook paper with our faces on it?
That could be a shirt. Fuck it.
Have you ever, you know what I mean? Like maybe one of us is a handsome man holding a hot woman, but our faces are on it. It's
I love
notebook
it.
paper.
I love it. Yeah.
Notebook paper.
What a good idea.
Put that on a shirt, Dave.
Put that on a shirt.
Put that on a shirt. You
Put
know?
that on a shirt.
That's what people want to wear. Can you imagine wearing that out in the world?
Oh my God.
What
I
an
cannot.
awful shirt that would be.
Oh yeah. What a fucking
Ugh.
just affront to society. just daring society to lock you up.
Are we ever going to finally do a podcast series together, Dave? Is that
I
ever
don't
going to
know.
happen?
We'll see. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
do one soon.
Okay. All right.
We've put it off for so long. We should make a
Yeah.
podcast.
I mean, yeah, it just seems like Destiny's calling, Dave. I'm sure
Yeah.
our multiverse twins are doing it right now.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing a podcast, but it's about fucking
Being dogs because they're the Nightbitch versions.
It's all Nightbitch. It's a lot of howling.
Yeah.
Just like ironic howling.
Howlcast, yeah.
Yeah, Howlcast.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, what a great time we've had.
We have. All right. Well,
Okay.
say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artnessbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.